In early 1942, Japanese military planners seriously debated invading Australia, not bombing it, not isolating it, invading it. Australian cities had already been attacked. Darwin burned. Submarines prowled Sydney Harbour. Panic spread across the continent. But then Japanese intelligence reached a conclusion that quietly ended the invasion debate. Australia's factories could arm 8 full divisions, and invading it would bleed Japan dry. By early 1942, Japan was winning. Pearl Harbor had crippled the U.S. Pacific Fleet. Singapore had fallen. The Philippines were collapsing. Southeast Asia was firmly under Japanese control. From Tokyo's perspective, the Allies were reeling. The question wasn't whether Japan could keep advancing, it was how far. Australia was more than a distant British colony. It was the primary Allied logistics base in the Southwest Pacific. Supplies, aircraft, troops, and fuel flowed through Australian ports. As long as Australia remained operational, the United States could regroup and counterattack. In February 1942, Japanese aircraft bombed Darwin. It wasn't symbolic, it was devastating. Hundreds were killed. Infrastructure was destroyed. Soon after, Japanese midget submarines entered Sydney Harbour. Though militarily limited, the message was clear. Australia was within reach. Australia was unprepared for invasion. Much of its army was fighting in North Africa. Coastal defenses were thin. Equipment was scarce. Civilians feared the worst. Evacuation plans were drafted. Defensive trenches appeared along beaches. Inside Japan's Imperial High Command, invasion plans were discussed, but not universally supported. The Imperial Navy favored isolating Australia through air and naval power. The Army, however, understood the cost of a land invasion. Invading Australia would require at least 10 divisions, possibly more. That meant hundreds of thousands of troops, massive shipping capacity, and long, exposed supply lines. Japan was already stretched across thousands of miles of ocean. Then came the intelligence assessment that changed everything. Japanese planners learned that Australia's industrial base, though smaller than America's, was capable of fully equipping 8 divisions locally. This meant any invasion force wouldn't just face defenders, it would face a growing, self-sustaining army. Factories produced rifles, artillery, ammunition, vehicles, and spare parts. An invading army fighting a country with intact industry faces a war of attrition. Japan could not replace losses at the same rate. Australia could. Australia's sheer size was another nightmare. Even capturing coastal cities wouldn't end resistance. The interior was vast, hostile, and impossible to fully control. Supply convoys would be stretched thin and vulnerable. Meanwhile, American forces were pouring into Australia. General Douglas MacArthur relocated his headquarters there. Every month that passed made invasion less realistic. Instead of invasion, Japan shifted strategy. The goal became isolating Australia by cutting sea lanes, particularly through New Guinea and the Solomon Islands. This led directly to brutal campaigns, Coral Sea, Midway, and the grinding jungle warfare of New Guinea. These battles were meant to neutralize Australia without ever landing on its shores. By mid-1942, the invasion plan was effectively dead. Japan lacked the shipping, the manpower, and the industrial depth to conquer a continent capable of arming itself. The decision not to invade Australia reveals something critical about World War II. Wars aren't won by bold plans alone, they're won by factories, logistics, and sustainability. Australia came closer to invasion than most people realized, but in the end, it wasn't beaches or soldiers that stopped Japan, it was production lines, steel, and the cold math of industrial war. Sometimes, the battles that shape history are the ones that never happened. Did you know how close Australia came to invasion? Comment below, and subscribe for more hidden, turning points of World War II.